And on our Thursday dialogue this morning, we want to give you an update on what's happening at the Madlanga Commission. In fact, we'll take you there live as soon as they are back in session. They've just taken a break, a tea break. So as soon as they're back, we're going to take you back there to listen to the testimony of Shadrack Sibiya, the suspended Deputy National Commissioner. I've got a few clips that I want to play for you while we wait for them to resume proceedings, just to keep you up to date with what's come out so far. I mean, from yesterday already, this was a man who wanted to defend himself from the time when he was reading his statement. I mean, at some point, evidence leaders were like, oh, you're going into too much unnecessary detail. And he felt, no, I need to come and say my piece and clarify certain things that have been said here in my name. So I'll get to those clips in a moment. I want to bring in our colleague, Orrin Singh now, who's our reporter with Eyewitness News, who's joining me now in studio, just to take us through some of the important bits that came out this morning and perhaps yesterday as well. Orrin, thank you for coming through. Hi.
Morning, Clement. Thanks.
So let's start with some of the things that piqued your interest this morning. I must say, earlier on, I picked up that he indicated that he's got about 4 phones. And I thought, whoa, what do you do with 4 phones? Okay, maybe one is work, and then another one is like family. What are the other 2 for? Did he ever have to explain that?
I don't think so, not yet.
They haven't gotten there.
But possibly during cross-examination, it might come up.
Yeah, okay. What are some of the things that came out this morning?
I think the most interesting thing, Clement, and this obviously brings into question the sort of evidence that we've been presented with at the Commission so far by the likes of Dumisani Khumalo and Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and Fani Masimola, is this issue around this white BMW. We remember that when Dumisani Khumalo testified, he brought up CCTV camera footage of a certain sergeant, Fani Nkosi, visiting the home of Katiso Keti Molefe in Sandhurst. And we see him getting out the vehicle and then getting back into his vehicle with this gift bag, quite a large gift bag. Everyone knows this CCTV footage. It circulated on WhatsApp and so forth and social media. And at the time, Dumisani Khumalo said that both Sergeant Fani Nkosi reported was under the command of Shadrack Sibiya, but also that white BMW was assigned to Shadrack Sibiya's office. And this morning, we heard a different story. Shadrack Sibiya says that CCTV footage was taken in November 2024. All right. He says this white BMW was only assigned to my office on the 5th of August 2025, which will beg the question, who's telling the right or giving the right evidence here? Because Dumisani Khumalo is saying at the time, this BMW was assigned to Shadrack Sibiya's office. And that was the picture painted by Dumisani Khumalo. And now we're hearing, no, I've got the paperwork to say that this BMW was only assigned to my office on the 5th of August 2025, almost a year later. And so I think Shadrack Sibiya has obviously come with his own evidence.
Yeah.
It's going to be up to the commission to look through this evidence and determine whose evidence actually holds more weight.
And I mean, the argument that I guess Dumisani Khumalo's grouping could make is that, sure, this vehicle at the time of this video, when it was taken, it wasn't assigned to you, but ultimately it was at a later stage. So that's just a minor detail that we can change. But does it really then change the heaviness of what they are alleging against him, which is that the guy that reports to you had money in the bag and gave it to this man that your people have tried to protect?
Yeah, I think it does hold some weight in the argument, because essentially he's refuted claims that Sergeant Nkosi reports to him.
Okay.
He claims that Sergeant Nkosi has a line manager that he reports to. I would suspect, and I could be wrong, that it would be the Gauteng head of organized crime, being Richard Chibiri.
Oh my goodness.
Because Sergeant Nkosi is a member of organized crime in Gauteng. So I would suspect that would be his reporting officer. And obviously, Richard Chibiri reports to Shadrack Sibiya.
But do you remember, Orrin? I remember when I spoke to you about some of the witnesses. I think witness D and the beginning witnesses that were anonymous. And I remember some of them were the ones who arrested Katiso Molefe. And I remember them mentioning that when they were arresting this man, they even got a call from Shibiri who said, do you know how dangerous this man is? And as soon as they arrested him, they took him to a certain prison. I remember one of them testified that Shibiri called and said, what's his name, Shadrack Sibiya, is not happy with what you guys have done. So it seems like there's this link that still exists, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to provide the evidence, and it has to be strong enough for you to prove that there's a link between what these people have said and the power that some of these officials hold. So he's now denying that this man doesn't report to him. But does he deny that they've got a relationship? Because we've seen WhatsApp texts where they talk to each other.
Doesn't deny that in the least. He says that Sergeant Nkosi himself, obviously referring to Sergeant Nkosi as witness F, which is a whole other argument in itself. Because initially,
I mean, he appeared.
He appeared initially, and then he went in camera. Yes. So even Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga admitting that the whole nation knows, that witness F is Sergeant Nkosi, but not actually saying it himself. But I think Shadrack Sibiya doesn't distance himself of having a close relationship with Sergeant Nkosi, but also seems to say that other people also have a relationship with him. It's not just me. It's General Mkonazi, General Sentumule in his office. They all have this relationship with him. But Sergeant Nkosi, I think, obviously, is someone that there's a lot of questions around him. He's come out publicly and said that I was raised by Jotan Mswati.
Yes.
Mswazi.
Yes. It was my dad. He was like
my dad. And this is someone that's obviously a questionable figure in the taxi realm, but also organized crime, essentially, with what's come out of the commission. So Shadrack Sibiya still in a corner. And I think Clement, when cross-examination does come about, he's really going to be hands up and trying to defend himself.
Can I just say, I was hoping that it was going to be Advocate Sello who's going to do the cross-examination. I mean, who's the...
Advocate Adila Hasim.
She's great, right?
Yes.
She's really great. But I was hoping that I'm going to get Advocate Sello who's going to ask the questions there. Just lastly, he seemed to raise issues with the WhatsApp messages that the commission has relied on. I mean, is he suggesting that they may have been interfered with?
Yeah, I think he's going along that sort of line, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that later, possibly during cross-examination. But he wants to know how were these messages obtained? What was the extraction method used by police to get access to these messages and download them and so forth? But he's also raised in contention that 6-hour recording that police allegedly have in their possession. That was when they arrested Kat Matlala. They had a conversation with him, and it spanned 6 hours long.
But also, he's disputed that. Remember when he appeared, he said, "No ways."
He's also disputing that. He's saying he's requested that 6-hour recording. Obviously, having to come and testify, he wants to know what's in it, because we've only heard small clips of that recording, and they've refused to give it to him. So he's raised the question: does it actually exist? Is it 6 hours long, or is it simply just small clips here and there that they managed to obtain? So a lot of questions being raised by Sabia, but at the end of the day, he's still in a very tight position.
Yeah. Orrin Singh, thank you so much for that quick update on what's come out of the Madlanga Commission so far. In fact, take a listen to what Shadrack Sibiya said about this witness Ev, Sergeant Nkosi, the one who basically ran away from the commission. And I say ran away because, first of all, he came up with all sorts of tricks. He appeared first, everybody saw who he is, and then he comes with lawyers later and says, I want to be anonymous. I can't be on camera. Okay, fine. They indulged him, and then he testified in camera. And then third thing, he tried to go to court to block coming to the commission. Didn't work. Fourth thing he's done now is, on the day he was supposed to appear, then he suddenly gets admitted to hospital. You tell me, what's up?